if I say the word compliance, what is your immediate, like, visceral reaction?
Oh,
I
man.
mean, if you are like most of the fleet managers or trades owners listening to this, it's probably just a groan. It feels like paperwork. It feels like this massive cost center that is the exact opposite of actually getting work done.
Yeah, it's the broccoli of fleet management. You know you need it to stay healthy, but you definitely do not want to eat it.
Exactly. But today, we are doing a deep dive into a document that argues we are looking at this all wrong. We're unpacking the true cost of Fleet Noncompliance Complete 2026 guide. That's published by GPS Insight. And the main hook here isn't just about avoiding speeding tickets.
Right. It's about how noncompliance is likely the biggest silent leak in your P&L right now.
Yeah, the silent leak. Because most operators view compliance as, a binary thing.
Yeah, you're either compliant or you get fined. That's the headline right up front. This guide argues that is a really dangerous oversimplification. They are introducing this concept of true cost, which it implies that the fine itself is actually negligible compared to the operational drag that comes with it.
Okay, so let's unpack that true cost, because operational drag sounds a bit like corporate speak. What does this guide say is actually happening to the money?
Well, think of it as a ripple effect. The guide breaks it down into direct and indirect costs. So the direct cost is the citation, say a few $100. Annoying, sure, but manageable.
Right, the cost of doing business sometimes.
Exactly. But the indirect cost, the actual true cost, is the vehicle downtime during an inspection, or the administrative hours your team spends just fixing logs. Is the increased insurance premiums because your safety score took a hit.
And in the context of 2026, those insurance premiums are not exactly forgiving.
Not at all. That is why the title emphasizes 2026. The landscape has shifted under our feet. We aren't just talking about DOT officers looking at paper logs anymore.
No, we are in an era of digital enforcement now.
Right. The data is transparent. If your compliance is sloppy today, the market punishes you way faster than it did even 5 years ago.
Okay, so for you listening right now, whether you are running a scaling trade business or managing a massive logistics fleet, the argument is that you really can't afford to be reactive. But being proactive is expensive too.
Yeah, it takes serious manpower to manually audit every driver every day.
And that is the trap. If you try to solve a 2026 problem with 2010 methods, like manual checks, you will just burn out your staff.
Yeah.
The guide is pretty clear on this. Manual compliance is essentially a myth at scale.
Because you inevitably miss things. Human error is a guarantee.
Which brings us to the solution presented in the text. They point toward responsible fleet GPS. Now, we see GPS mentioned a lot in this industry, but how does adding dots on a map actually solve a compliance issue?
It isn't about the dots at all. It's about the automation. Responsible Fleet GPS isn't just tracking location, it is digitizing the workflow.
So it automatically captures the data needed for IFTA reporting, hours of service, vehicle inspections.
Precisely. It shifts compliance from an action a driver has to take, which they might easily forget, to a background process that just happens seamlessly. The guide argues this is really the only way to mitigate that true cost. You stop the bleeding by automating the tourniquet.
I like that. It changes the dynamic from hoping we don't get caught to actively proving we are safe.
And that proof is currency today. When you can prove consistent compliance through data, you protect your reputation, and crucially, your bottom line.
It really seems the core message here is that ignorance is a massive liability. You can't save money on compliance by cutting corners.
No, you only defer the cost, and you usually pay interest on it later. If you are a CEO looking to scale, you need to ask yourself, does my current fleet provider just give me data, or do they actually offer the tools to keep me legal in this 2026 environment?
Because if they don't, that gap is coming right out of your profit margin. That is a serious reality check. So here's a final provocative thought to mull over as you head back to the daily grind. We always talk about the cost of noncompliance, but have you calculated the opportunity cost of the time your best managers spend playing compliance cop instead of actually growing the business?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Stay safe out there.